It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley. I guess we'll do this the whole week. It's the first full Wednesday of Trump's presidency. Yesterday was like, this is his first full day. Like he's a kindergartner.
Well, before we go to any of that, it was just 14 months ago when Dartmouth University climate catastrophe researchers said snow in the South may never happen again.
Well,
and then
my brother in Corpus just called.
And then this past November, because this was November 2023, they said climate change will cause more snow.
Yeah, right, of course.
It's like, okay, we got to cover our bases a year later. Wow.
Well, it reminds me of, Lori David. Remember Larry David's now ex-wife, I think? And
yes.
You know, she came in from a walk. And it was cool outside. My hands are cold. It's never been this cool this time of year. Never, Lori, in the history of the planet. Are you sure? And she was just, it's always, again, this is why global warming became climate change. And then for a minute, climate chaos, climate catastrophe.
Climate apocalypse.
Ooh, I got a new one. All right, some liberal needs to run with this one. Climate uncertainty. Let the weather guys use that one. We don't know.
Climate, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Climate, I don't know.
Anything could happen. Like what? We don't know. Anything.
It could be cold today, and then 6 months from now, it could be warm.
Yeah. See, that's why, by the way, that's why I'm not a prepper, because anything could happen. Yeah, I got 50 gallons of dry rice and plenty of ammo, but what if I'm not, what if there's like a needle and thread shortage? I'm not prepared for that. It's like, this is the problem with climate change, is that everything moves in every direction. It's like, it would be like prepping for everything and also nothing. We've got to change all the laws, all the regulations, because you never know.
Well, you and I had said a long time ago when, people were talking about you need to save gold because when all hell breaks loose, gold, and we said, no, gold will be worth nothing.
Right. You can't eat gold.
Gold will be worth nothing. Water and food will be worth everything. And then we were corrected when that realistic movie came out, Book of Eli.
Yes, the documentary Book of Eli.
Yes, the documentary. And what you want
narrated by Gary Oldman. Yeah,
rechargeable batteries.
Yeah,
and the personal wipes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And of course water.
Right.
That was also important in that. And
and
the Bible.
And the Bible.
And the Bible.
Yeah.
And the Bible.
And it would be helpful to memorize it.
All right, no, don't give it away because I don't want to. Don't give it away. Don't give it away because some people.
It's 20 years old.
I know, but it's still a great.
Okay, let's talk about the Sixth Sense. He's dead the whole time. All right.
What's her name in the Book of Eli? The one that's married to what's his name?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher's wife, Mila Kunis.
Yeah. I was never really impressed with anything that I saw. She was okay.
Mm-hmm.
That completely changed my mind on her. She was great in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
She was absolutely, her and Denzel Washington. You'd have never thought that those two would be together as basically co-stars of a movie.
Right.
And she just killed it.
Yeah, she did. when they found that water, and then as he's walking away, he locks her in, and when she's screaming, her voice is I don't know, it just reminds me of one of my daughters or granddaughters. It's like it's a comic moment. There's some comic relief in the way that she whines and she's screaming at him, because she has one of those voices that actually is great for that, and it's a very funny moment.
But at the end of it, when I'm not gonna give the details, but at the end of it, when she's leaving Alcatraz,
yeah, right,
and you see her, put on the earbuds, and she's walking with this authority.
Yeah,
I remember thinking, well, I buy into it. She's taking over for it. I don't know what her mission was.
Well, I wanted to see the sequel. Basically, because
exactly,
she was
right.
because she was, that was her, next big move, and it was like, all right, let's do the sequel.
But we've always said it's like, you can promote gold as an investment opportunity. Now there's numbers of investment. You can do it there. But to sit there and make the case that when all hell breaks loose, when the apocalypse hits, gold will be worth nothing.
Right.
With absolutely nothing.
Right.
It'll be
water standard is what we need to be on.
Right. We need to be on the water
standard. But not in California. Just, you go broke. Yeah.
My gosh.
It's,
they're taking
more valuable in California.
Right.
I mean, that is so insane, by the way.
They're taking gold and just throwing it away.
Yeah, exactly. That is so insane, because that right there, you look at it, just put yourself in the moment. I mean, again, I don't do this often, but the apocalyptic moment, if everything goes south, well, isn't that what you're supposed to be prepared for, California, on water on all levels? When we talked about this with the wildfires, it's not just fighting the wildfires, it's sustaining life. You have a massive population for now, and this is the problem. You don't have water. You don't manage water for a massive population.
Well, that's the problem. Who said it the other day? We played the audio cut. That what people are seeing in Democrats now is they can't do. It was Barry Weiss. They can't do the basic things they're supposed to do to protect society. They have completely failed at in California.
You look
and we've talked about water and energy.
Yeah.
They've completely failed on water and energy. They've done everything to make energy inconsistent and expensive.
Yeah.
And on water, they've said nobody cares.
The mother that was in the face of Governor Newsom was the most, I believe, for me at least, was the most telling moment in that scenario. Because what was his excuse to her? What was his answer? Hold on, I'll call Big Brother. I don't know how to do it. I'll call Big Brother. I didn't prepare. I'll call somebody who might have prepared. And I'm having trouble getting my signal out. When you see governors like, DeSantis in Florida, look, he may be in contact with federal officials while he's working with local and county officials and state officials, and he's in charge in that moment. Mm-hmm. Governor Newsom isn't somebody, to Barry Weiss's point, even further, these aren't individuals who know how to prepare. They don't know how to be ready.
Well, and being ready for the moment means preparing for decades before.
Yep.
And so
preparing for the worst.
Right. So it's not just Newsom.
Right.
And it's not just Bass. It is the Democratic Party. It is liberalism. It is, as we've stated before, it is on water saying we want to make sure that water is scarce when there's plentiful water.
Right.
And we want to make sure that energy is scarce and expensive and inconsistent. And that goes beyond just California. That's what Biden ran on. Mm-hmm. We're going to run the grid on solar and wind. And the fact that there wasn't a national uproar inside the Democratic Party saying, this is insanity. What are you talking about? Right. We can't do this to energy. We can't be doing this to water. What are you doing? And nobody, you've got all the liberals now screaming and yelling, but they weren't screaming and yelling during this entire process over the last 50 years.
Right.
You didn't see them. Where were the protests? Think about this. We protest things that don't matter, and when it comes to, well, the state has basically said, to hell with making sure we have plentiful water. Let's not protest over that.
Right.
It's water and energy.
Exactly. You're talking about sustaining life. And they're not prepared to do it.
No.
In fact, they go out of their way to make sure they're not prepared. Their policy basically led California to be in a place where they aren't prepared for things that you know are going to happen. You know there's going to be the threat of wildfires, especially when the Santa Ana winds are high, when conditions are dry, which means, when you're being California. Because naturally, you're not going to be able to change any of that. You're not going to be able to. The only thing you can do is be prepared to the best extent possible for situations like that. And they go out of their way to not be.
Well, it's like we've talked about Texas because it's always fascinating when people fly in to DFW. And one of the first things is, I didn't know, my God, you people have a lot of lakes. It's like, well, yeah, they're all man-made. Mm-hmm. And you look at, because they know the population growth is growing, that you see already, people and property owners where they're planning on huge new reservoirs that they have to have for.
Just built one, yeah.
Yeah.
One about 20, 25 minutes northeast of
yeah,
here,
there's one I think they're planning, about 50, 60 miles east. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of protest on there because it takes people's lands, and people also thinking about, well, the population growth. Mm-hmm. You think about it, just where I live, just south of me, about 5-6 miles south of me. Good God. Because most of Dallas, Fort Worth has built north.
Right, yeah.
They really haven't, especially, you think south of Dallas. I live 22 miles south west of downtown Dallas. Mm. And you go about a minute south of me, and there's nothing. Mm-hmm. Really, it's nothing. I mean, you start going, 15,000 house community now they're planning.
Yeah.
Since I have lived here, just Dallas-Fort Worth itself, I think has grown between 3 and 3.5 million people.
Yeah, you have a couple of towns, in fact, that put moratorium on building because the infrastructure isn't there.
Yeah.
They don't have the sewer lines. They don't have the roads in and out. My nephew, the town where he lives, started out as a very small town. I think it was 8,000-10,000 people. When people just started, it just became a trend. And then they came in and said, you can't, because he said the traffic to get to the highway, it was 20 or 30 minutes, and we're only talking a few miles.
You hear this thing that, people shouldn't be living in these places. Well, you could say that for almost anything. And I mentioned Texas because people say, well, why do you have it? And I said, well, because, we're basically drought or monsoon. Mm-hmm. And you need to control the flooding on that when you have that, when you have basically drought and monsoon. Mm-hmm. Well, climate change, no, that's been hundreds of thousands of years.
Right.
That's the weather in Texas.
Right.
And when you moved humans in there, it's like, well, you got to prepare for it then.
Right.
You've got people that say, okay, what's the science? What are you going to need for the future preparation to do this? Because people are going to move where opportunity is.
Right.
And it's just the reality. And it's like, well, we shouldn't be building places. Well, then where? Kansas? Everybody lives in Kansas, and we just say we'll live with the tornadoes?
Right. Arizona, live in the dry heat.
Arizona, look at, live in the South with these massive snowstorms.
Florida, hurricanes, Yeah, Austin with unbelievable, unprecedented, probably not, snow. I mean, by the way, yesterday, when you watch the liberal activist media on that, snow in Austin, why? It's so extremely rare. Calm down. Just calm down. It's January, right? It's like, no, stop.
Northern areas, the what do they call it? The tundra?
The frozen tundra.
The frozen tundra. That's
the frozen tundra.
The frozen tundra. Well, we got a great show ahead.
We do.
You know, I saw this one and I went, oh, okay, this shows Trump is winning. Ben Cohen, one of the co-founders of Ben & Jerry's, through his support behind Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency with the launch of a new meme contest on Monday. It's over for liberalism.
Wow. Jerry's going, what happened?
Oh, my gosh. We got a great show ahead. Trump goes to church.
Yeah.
We'll get
Everybody loses their mind.
When I woke up, because I wake up right at 10 o'clock, and Seinfeld's on at 10 o'clock, and it was Mr. Pitt, and I went, oh, I wonder if it's where he gets the pen stuff underneath his nose, and he looks like Hitler, and he raises his hand.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, well, you know something, even Putty doesn't raise his hand fully, but he raises it for the high five. And remember, Seinfeld's bit, that all came from the high five. It's actually the Heil five.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. AOC's going to see that episode. See, I told you.
Oh, my God. Just unbelievable. That and a whole bunch more coming up. 866-90 Red Eye.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Starting and charging system-related issues are one of the most common causes of winter breakdowns. So when your batteries talk, it's important you listen. Knowing the warning signs that could indicate your electrical system needs attention can help you avoid getting stuck out in the cold this winter. Dim lights are an early warning sign that your alternator is degrading and near the end of its life cycle. Lights that are brighter than normal, on the other hand, can indicate your alternator is overcharging. Get a full electrical system check if you notice your headlights getting dimmer or brighter.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Just real quickly here, because it's not going to go anywhere. Trump just sort of blew it off, but the whole National Cathedral debacle that happened yesterday. We have the minister here. Here's just an example of what she said. Here we go. Here, when Trump and Vance were both there at the National Cathedral yesterday.
I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives.
What a load of horse manure. But I have, Trump should have known this. As soon as I saw they were going to the National Cathedral yesterday, you and I talked about this during the first Trump, his first term.
Yeah, right.
The leadership of the National Cathedral absolutely hates Trump.
Right.
Why the hell did they go?
Right.
She's well known. She's been vetted.
Right.
Now, he didn't seem to care. His supporters did. This is just reprehensible. I can't. Well, we already knew this. This is old news.
Yep.
That's the first thing I thought of yesterday when I saw they were going to go. I go, why are they going to go? They must have changed leadership and everything else there, because they were brutal on Trump and completely and totally unfair and telling lies, as she did yesterday. It's like, but they knew it. It was a huge story. Trump knew it. Why did they go?
Yeah. But it's one more, piece of demonstration that the far left, the radicals, aren't going to change their behavior.
Right.
They're going to keep telling the lies. That's not going to end.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Yes, so on the whole National Cathedral thing yesterday, he needs to get, what do they call the groups that go out and vet, do everything to vet?
During the transition, there's a third-party vetting, that does it for, like, nominees, but, a vetting staff.
No, when you're going somewhere to make sure everything is done right.
The advanced team.
The advanced team, right.
Mm-hmm.
The advanced vetting team. The advanced team. The advanced team didn't do their job here unless Trump wanted this to happen.
Well, that's what I wonder if he knew that she was not going to go without saying something, right? And then, because if you look at everything that's on display, I don't know, is he okay with, the left, the radicals just doing their thing while he's coming in? And everybody, by the way, he's got wide support coming in this time, and it's not what it used to be. So she stands out as the radical. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case or not.
Yeah, he just shrugged it off. But I was just you don't need to put yourself in those particular situations, and especially when you know it. I mean, the National Cathedral, this was a huge story in his first term. The leadership there hated him. I mean, they were calling him racist. They called him every name in the book.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, that's the first thing I thought of before it went, when it's like, his schedule today, going to the National Cathedral. I went, why? I go, okay, maybe the entire leadership has changed and they've decided not to get involved in politics. No, and so it was amazing that nobody seemed to remember that, and it was so crystal clear in my mind what had happened back, 4 or 5 years ago in his last administration with the National Cathedral.
Well, it could be, too, that he's, he's kind of making the rounds, because there was, in 2017, we're talking such a vastly different political climate of him coming in. The Russian collusion hoax was well underway. All of this was, everything was in play. And now he's got a mandate. So I do wonder, and I don't know this, but I do wonder if his attitude is, you know what, I got a mandate now, and I'm just going to do the rounds the way I would normally do the rounds. And if they want to be radical, they can be radical. That's on them. That shows more about them than it does me, because the American people voted for me, not them. I don't know.
Yeah, he just sort of blew it off going, it could have gone better.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like, okay.
Right.
Now, speaking of the radical transgender movement, I just happened to see this, and so I bookmarked it. Miranda Devine from the New York Post had it.
Mm-hmm.
Going on in Australia. Are you ready for this? Listen to this.
All right.
A court in Australia found that lesbians who are females...
Wait a minute, Mike. Am I missing something?
Let me finish here.
All
a court in Australia found that lesbians who are females are a minority of all lesbians, which includes males. Therefore, female lesbians may not gather without the male lesbians, or it is discrimination.
Sounds like what a bloke says at a bar,
I'll repeat that one again.
Yeah.
A court in Australia found that lesbians who are females are a minority of all lesbians, which include males. Therefore, the female lesbians may not gather without the male lesbians, or it is discrimination. Well, I don't know. It looks like in Australia,
yeah,
to that minister at the National Cathedral, that lesbians are pretty scared right now. Excuse me. Female lesbians in Australia are pretty scared right now, because we can't forget about male lesbians.
Right.
My God, they're abs-
that the female lesbians are in the minority.
Yes. Female lesbians are a minority. According to the court, female lesbians are a minority.
Most lesbians are male, is what they're saying.
Yes. Yes.
Again, this sounds like what some kind of stupid line that a guy would come up with at a bar. A bloke walks up talking to a lady, says, you know, I am too.
Oh, but yeah, what was the joke? I'm a lesbian trapped in a male's body.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid guy joke, right? But they're being serious. Wow.
Oh, here. So,
And remember, if you're ever bitten by a red big spider, you're going to die.
so the male lesbian likes women.
I don't know. What if a male lesbian likes men?
Can I ask a question? Is it me?
What if a male lesbian likes men who are also lesbian?
Well, this is a serious question for the radical transgender movement.
I don't know the rules.
If you're we're trying to discover, we are really interested in the rules, which again, if I said that to the professor at Berkeley, well, you're transphobic. Well, what do you mean?
Right. Yeah.
Or homophobic or whatever I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what I would be.
Right.
I'd be homophobic in that one.
Mm.
This is really taxing my mind here. It really is taxing my mind.
Well, it sounds like it's turning into a bar joke. Two male lesbians walk into a bar. I don't know what the rules are.
Right. So a male lesbian likes females?
Guess it depends on the male lesbian.
I won't even get into if you're a female, if you're a biological female who believes you're a male,
Yeah.
but you like women, is that the definition of a was it male lesbian? I'm getting confused. I really think that's their goal. Just confuse the hell out of everybody.
No, I think that's actually from day one has been. Yeah.
And now combining the Heil Hitler and the radical transgender movement.
Yeah.
Greg Gutfeld yesterday. Once again, the media smears someone over an easily debunked Nazi comparison, yet none of them bothered to note their preferred party support for surgical experimentation on children, a direct echo of the medical experiments performed on children during the Third Reich.
Right.
And then Cheryl Atkinson, if you believe that someone is secretly Hitler and you've discovered this because he did a Hitler gesture in front of millions of people while secretly being Hitler in some sort of secret code that only certain people are supposed to understand, but you cleverly recognize it.
Yeah.
That you cleverly recognize it as a Hitler-esque gesture, then you might just be nuts.
Exactly.
God, it just doesn't stop. And then the one with AOC, the number of AOC, because she was on this big time, and the number of they've got the video of her like just doing it twice. They just can't let it go. They lost because of it, and they can't let it go. And you saw that Senator Chris Murphy asked, the UN the nominee for UN ambassador yesterday, Elise Stefanik.
Mm-hmm.
He's obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Never Trumpers jumped on it.
Mm.
Let me see here. Let me go. Bill Kristol jumped on it.
Yeah.
Bill Kristol was on it. Britt Hume's like, stop it. Good for God's sake. So he hit Senator Chris Murphy. It's not a gaffe. It's back-to-back. Clear as the day, Nazi salutes.
Oh, come on.
Britt Hume, this belongs in the BS, except the Bull
Right.
Hall of Fame. I mean, they just
Yeah.
they can't stop it.
Well-
They just can't. They are so reactionary, but it all goes back to one thing. They can't win on the issues, so they can only go back to what they feel is, and because they all know it's a lie.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
one of them knows it's
Right.
a lie.
Right.
Every single one of them know it.
Right.
But they keep promoting it anyway. Is it a desperate attempt in their minds to keep their base together? What is it?
Well, the one thing is you certainly can't, they know you can't abandon your base. The moment you flinch and don't become outraged, don't have this kind of thing, this is the problem. The liberal bullhorn requires that tomorrow you keep that bullhorn loud. You've got to bring it, and you've got to be loud every single day. Silence is violence. That's what they say. And, yeah, I think they know they've got to keep it up to get people motivated. But the group that they're motivating is getting smaller and smaller. They're more radical, and they're still as loud. But many Americans falling off of that.
You're right, because it's not the rank and file voter, even Democrat voter, is probably rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
It's the media,
Yeah.
and it's the Democrats, and it's not just on and the Never Trumpers,
Right.
which Bill Kristol do it.
Right.
I saw yesterday. I was looking at the Erie County, which is where I grew up,
Mm-hmm.
and their county executive doing the same thing. Oh, Nazi salute! He just got blasted.
Right.
I mean, it's 9-1
Right.
against.
Yeah.
When they do it, I mean, everyone who does this just gets blasted on it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mentioned yesterday, it's like that man on the street thing when they were doing the whole transgender thing. Well, do you believe I could be 9 feet tall and be Asian? Do you believe that if I wanted to live as this, do you believe? And the people would go, well, I mean, because that rank and file is that person going, well, if you've tolerated this and still voted for their side, which in the Trump era, many people, millions of people do still. They did it in November. But others were waking up going, you know what? I can't go down this road any longer. I can't do this. This is beyond radical. This is insane. And it's affecting my life now to a point where, I'm either not going to vote or I'm going to vote the other way. And that's what you saw on Election Day. And I think the rank and file is coming out of it, where, you go along to get along because the mob was extremely intimidating. They'll get in your face at an outdoor restaurant. Silence is violence. Why aren't you up? Why aren't you as angry as me? This is the radical mind. We want everybody, and you better be as radical as we are. Well, sorry. Doesn't work that way. You're in the extreme minority, and you may be loud. You may be even getting louder, but your numbers are dwindling for now. And you can't ultimately win elections going forward with this kind of mentality. Over and over again, they put it on full display. And Americans more and more are saying, no, sorry. I got things in my life that are real. I've got violence on the increase in my neighborhood, which is a threat to my family. I can't afford my bills and my groceries. That's a threat to my family. The border's broken. That's a threat to my family. And you coming after my kids, that's a threat to my family, and you're not going to win that.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You and I had a great discussion yesterday of, who's the leadership who's going to be the new leadership for the Democrats if they expect to win the midterms or 2028, and we don't know. And we said, look at it, it's the same old. It's Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, and the loudest voice out there now is AOC, and she's a nutcase. And she's out just 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Every response is, what about the guy who did the Nazi salute behind the presidential seal? It's like she can't let it go.
Right.
So this is what you have as the spokespeople is Hakeem Jeffries, who's as radical as you can get, Schumer, who's as radical as you can get, who has extremely, low favorability ratings, and AOC, the nutcase.
Yeah. That's all they got.
That's all they
got.
Who else is there?
There isn't anyone.
Yeah.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, quickly on the pardons for J6.
Yeah.
Again, I would have to go through, as the Trump administration said they were going to do, everyone point by point, and that nobody who committed any acts of violence would receive a pardon or a commutation. That didn't happen.
Right.
Probably the vast majority, from what I can see, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Right.
But there's a number that was absolutely the wrong thing for the Trump administration to do. You look at some of the violent acts that were committed out there. One man sentenced to 151 months can be seen on video, deploying an electroshock weapon against a police officer who was dragged out of a defensive line and plunged it into the officer's neck. The night before, he promised online there will be blood.
Yeah.
And you can go down. Wall Street Journal lists the number of people who actually committed violent acts. Sorry. You attack a police officer? Sorry.
Yeah, and when it was first announced, it was going to be all of those who were accused and convicted of nonviolent crimes.
Yep. And J.D. Vance said it again a week ago. It'd only be the people that nonviolent crimes.
Right.
That isn't the case.
Right.
If we're going to go after Biden for what he did, and I think the vast majority, from what I can see, was the right thing to do for Trump.
Right.
But there were people that committed violent acts, and they specifically said, and against police officers, and they specifically said they weren't going to do that, and they did.
And the question is, what changed?
Yep. And you can't broad stroke it.
No.
As he was doing yesterday. You cannot do that and say, well, a lot of these people had served. Nope. You're right for those people who committed nonviolent, but you cannot lump them all together because you weren't lumping them all together until yesterday.
Right. In fact, you were very deliberately making the case to draw the distinctive line between them.
And everybody's out there, Trump supporters, saying promises made, promises kept. Right there. Promises made, promises not kept.
Well, recent promises made. I mean, this is something
exactly,
that that they talk about and promised it would be only nonviolent.
Yep. We're not going to play the game of political idolatry, folks, and support something that is the wrong thing to do, especially when Trump said nonviolent only.
Well, and the problem with that is that it's going to do political damage to him, I mean, it was day one. You can't have that.
Nope.
Don't inflict your own political damage.
Yep.
Because the left is still holding on to the whole January 6th thing. You know, you can make the comparison to Biden, but that's the whole point.
And
But if it's not okay for
right.
Biden, it's not okay for anybody.
Look, and you're totally justified on those that the prosecutors overcharged.
Oh, yeah.
And the federal courts came in and said, sorry, you can't do that. That's gone.
Right.
And the nonviolent, you can make the case. You can make the case in civil disobedience, even resisting. You
Right.
can't make the case of premeditated violence against cops
Right.
or anybody else.
Right.
And the list that the Wall Street Journal has down there, and there's a number of them, where they talk about the fact that they had planned this as individuals.
Right. Right.
Again, doesn't make it an insurrection. It makes it a riot.
Right.
But those particular people that did it, and I mean insurrection, that including Trump, because Trump, this was a riot out of control. But there were people that planned to do violence and did it. We know that 14 sentences were commuted. We don't know how many specifically, because there's so many, how many might have been pardoned who actually committed a violent act. That's wrong.
Yeah.
There's no way you can sell that
Well,
as
again,
right.
there's a reason they promised not to do that.
Yeah.
They know it's not right.
They promised. They
Right.
said.
Right.
They knew it.
They were the ones, in fact, that set that bar and said it won't be everybody. It will be only the nonviolent.
Yep.
Which would be most, but it still wouldn't be everybody. And they were very clear on making that distinction for a reason. Because they know.
If you made the case for that, which you can, that resisting arrest is not violent, because, for example, if you're sitting there and you're sitting down and you resist
Right.
arrest, you won't stand up and go.
Right, right.
In an act of civil disobedience, yeah, I can understand that completely. You plan and then you attack somebody, sorry. That's the last thing that Republicans should be doing. And there was no reason that Trump needed to do that.
No,
None.
no. Because then it's not going to, this entire effort is not going to pass or fail based on that one case.
No.
Unless you make the wrong decision. You make the wrong decision and commute the sentence, and now you've created your own problem.
Yeah.
For no reason.
And you created the problem because you said, we're not going to do that.
Right. Yeah. You were very clear on making the distinction for a reason.
Right. And that's where Scott Jennings was wrong the other day, because he got on and says, look, they've done their time. They've done time. They've been punished. They've been, and you're right. For the nonviolent ones, absolutely. A lot of their lives were destroyed because of it.
Right.
I have no sympathy for those that commit acts of violence against cops. Sorry.
Yeah, I have none. I have
Zero.
none.
And it's not defensible, which is why nobody on the Republican side is talking about that much.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, shh, just don't say anything. Well,
the Wall Street Journal's talking about it.
yeah, National Review talked about it, too. That's a couple of writers there.
Right. And I guess my point is that means there will likely be more discussion on this.
Yeah. Didn't need to do that.
Right.
Didn't need it. So.
Yep.
But we went after Biden for doing wrong things on the pardons, or pardons, commuting sentences, whatever. We'll do the same here. Now, the other guy, the one guy that was in prison for 2 life sentences, that one deserved.
Well, the overcharging and massive sentences that don't apply. that's the
Oh,
problem.
no. I mean the other one, the guy who set up the website.
Yeah.
Where you could trade stuff and people traded drugs.
Right.
And they gave him 2 life sentences. That was outside. I just want to make sure we're talking outside of the January 6th, because there's a ton of them that I believe were justifiable by Trump. But the ones that are justifiable, you don't have to worry about it. So ones that you said you're not going to do, that then you open yourself up to Democratic attacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you had the high ground, if it was just nonviolent against what Biden had done.
Well, the point is that, when you talk about, it really fits into the lawfare thing. If you can take examples of cases and, from the whole January 6th thing and show, look, this is, extreme overcharging. These were prosecutors going after them and shouldn't have. And the punishment didn't fit the crime. In fact, in many cases, there really wasn't a crime, maybe a civil crime. I think of like resisting arrest. Well, how many times has Martin Sheen been arrested for the protest, right?
Exactly.
That kind of thing where you see all the protesters and their badge of honor is getting arrested.
Right.
Well, in this case, it was the badge of honor of the prosecution in far too many cases.
Absolutely.
That went way too hard. And the point is, you can make your case early on from the lawfare. That's exactly what everybody who supports Trump was expecting. You make your case on the lawfare in part with this whole January 6th thing. And you show, look at what, because I think a lot of people don't understand how many people were charged. I think a lot of people didn't, they see it, and it's kind of, in flyby mode. Oh, yeah, someone got arrested. Oh, yeah, somebody got arrested. Maybe somebody from your town got arrested, and hits local news. That happened here a few times. And it's like, all right, then it kind of goes away. You don't think about exactly how many got arrested and how many were way overcharged. The point is, you had the ability, and this is something that Trump did starting with his speech the other day. On Inauguration Day, you start with a speech that draws the clear line between your predecessor and you, what they caused, what they did, and what you're about. And with this move, it should have been, the focus should have been, I think it is to some extent still, but it should have 100% been about the lawfare that happens because of the hatred for Trump. And that includes January 6th.
Right, exactly, right. Yeah.
And you use that as your opportunity to say, look at these guys, this guy, and then you have those examples. Look.
And I saw Sky Jennings the other day talk about, in 2020, the people that got away with violent acts, that doesn't justify other people getting away with violent acts, though.
Exactly.
That's a bad excuse to do.
Yeah.
That's where you go after those prosecutors and you let the American people know. Now you make that if you want to make that comparison, you can.
Mm-hmm.
The Department of Justice will punish Republicans who commit acts of violent crime, but won't go after Democrats. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't punish all.
Because if you believe those in 2020 should have been punished, then you believe that these individuals should be punished as well.
Right.
It's, that's it.
Right.
That's the whole point of the outrage of those individuals from 2020 not being punished. So picking and choosing your outrage based on whichever, crime or whichever incident, it doesn't work. It certainly doesn't work politically.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Smart owner-operators make every single week as profitable as possible. One trip is not enough time to be considered profitable or unprofitable, and an entire month may be too much time to manage. 1 week is the right amount of time to deal with efficiently. To do so, look at the advantages and disadvantages of every day of the week. Match trip length to the optimum day of the week. Plan to deliver on the day you have the best opportunity of getting a load. Your personal weekly plan will vary depending on the weekly delivery flow cycle of your region, typical length of haul, personal requirements, and other factors. What's important is to have a specific weekly plan that helps you be successful. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website For more details on this and many other topics, brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'm telling you, it's really interesting going through all the executive orders that Trump put out there yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, 2 days ago, actually. 2 days ago and yesterday, because he continued with it yesterday. We'll get to a whole bunch of that. I'm just reading here this from Breitbart. Fact check. Journalists and Democrats claim Elon Musk did Nazi salute during Trump inauguration event. Claim corporate media accused Elon Musk of doing a Nazi salute. Verdict, false. He slapped his heart, extended his arm, explaining the gesture by saying, "My heart goes out to you."
Yeah.
Even the Anti-Defamation League has conceded that it was not a Nazi salute.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. And they go, it's like they go through, CNN, PBS, Gerald Nadler, AOC, other outlets called Musk raised arm a Nazi salute, fascist salute, or Nazi-like included USA Today, Deadline, Al Jazeera, Euronews, Wired, The Guardian, The Forward, and Politico.
Nazi-like. See, this is where they get into this. They change it. They lighten it up. They back off the full, hey, it's a full-on Nazi salute with, oh, well, it's Nazi-like. What does that mean? Nazi-like. Again, you take the marker and you accidentally have a little spot under your nose. It's like, wow.
Oh, the Seinfeld episode,
Nazi-like.
Mr. Pitt, yes.
Yeah. There was actually a teapot that they sold, and it looked like, if you just Google Hitler teapot, Google it, because it was a thing for a while.
Was it really?
Yeah, and it's because the stem of the teapot looks like his arm, but the handle looks like his head, and there's this little black spot in the middle, looks like his mustache. Just Google Hitler teapot. It was a thing.
Well, again,
they can't get. By the way, this is the side that proudly promotes their anti-Semitism.
No, I know. And I just love what Greg Gutfeld wrote. Once again, the media smears someone over an easily debunked Nazi comparison, yet none of them bothered to note their preferred party support for surgical experimentation on children, a direct echo of the medical experiments performed on children during the Third Reich.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to show you while we're on the air the Hitler teapot. See it?
Oh, wow.
It's a thing. It has its own Wikipedia page. That's where I got the picture
the
from.
Hitler teapot.
The Hitler teapot. This is the insanity.
At least we know one thing.
Yeah.
There is nothing below Hitler.
Right. They haven't been able to get above Hitler.
Well, I mean, lower in a way of like more depraved, more evil. But you could,
yeah. They haven't been able to get beyond the Hitler thing.
Right. They haven't been able to get something that is more evil than Hitler.
Right. They're
just sticking with the Hitler over and over again.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. You just can't. Like, for example, a Stalin just doesn't do it.
No. Because then you got to explain the difference between,
Right.
And it's like, okay, well.
Dick Durbin wanted to use Pol Pot, but he used that genocidal maniac in the comparison to U.S. troops.
Right.
So he already used that one up.
Right. Yeah, he took all of the air out of that room with that comment. But that's their insanity. They just it has to go to that extreme. They've got to get to the point of, We got to prove these people are Hitler-like.
Hitler, look.
Hitler-esque.
I'm not Hitler. I'm not Hitler-like. I'm Hitler-adjacent.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's where they are on it.
And it was...
What was it? What was that big story? And they had to walk it back and say, oh, well, it was like they weren't saying it full on, but they were walking right up to the line on it. I'll think of it here in a minute during the break, but, they've done this before. They're not acute. They won't, some in the media especially, won't just say, it was very Hitler. It's Hitler-like. Some people, they'll do that. Some people believe it was Hitler-like.
It parallels Hitler.
Right.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. Stephen A. Smith goes from sports to politics. You ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
Right. So one thing I wanted to say, getting back to the Democrats, is disregard. You have to be careful to not fall for the okie doke, for every little thing that he throws out there. Because like Bill said, there's certain things that he's doing just for pomp and circumstance to make it look good. And he knows he's not going to necessarily get it done. But that doesn't stop them from overreacting to it. And if you overreact to it and use every little soundbite that he throws out there, or every little insignificant act that you know he's not going to be able to push through, and you react to that, you're reminding Americans of why they voted against you in the 2024 election.
Yeah.
You and I have been talking about, where do the Democrats go, that they have no idea where to go, which is why they're just being reactionary. And I found a perfect example here. Katie Porter, the former congresswoman who ran against in the primary against Adam Schiff,
okay,
and lost in for the Senate, so she gave up her seat. All right. She said, I served 2 years in Congress during the first Trump administration. Here are a few pieces of advice I'm giving to Democrats. Okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right.
First, stay focused on the real people being harmed by Trump's policies. It's easy for D.C. politicians to exist in a bubble, but Washington should stay focused on the effects of Trump's policies, and Democrats should focus on how we can mitigate the damage. Any specifics there?
I didn't hear any.
For example, in a hearing during the early days of the pandemic, my line of questioning led to a commitment from the Trump administration that COVID testing would be free for every American. In another hearing, I called out Ben Carson, his housing and urban development secretary, for confusing Rio, a property owned by a bank after foreclosure, with an Oreo. Now, I don't know if you remember that exchange. I do.
Mm-hmm.
She said Rio. He goes, what'd you say, Oreo? And that was it.
Right.
He goes, no, Rio. Rio say, oh, okay, fine. That's what she's talking about as a big victory.
Right.
These moments weren't about roasting people to go viral. They were about making sure we had people who knew enough about their jobs to actually be able to do the work and ensuring that the administration worked for the good of the American people. Second, she gives no more specifics from that point except this one. Second, stand up to the bullying and the BS. Just the other day, Trump threatened to hold California disaster relief funds hostage unless Congress passes a big bill with all of his pet projects like tax cuts for billionaires. I can't find that anywhere.
No.
That doesn't exist.
No.
What Trump was talking, I checked and couldn't find it anywhere. What I found was Trump talking about the fact that there needs to be conditions on the, he was speculating, in saying, I think there needs to be conditions. If you're not going to do anything to save water, if you're not going to do anything to prevent the fires there, why should we give you billions upon billions of federal dollars to have the same thing happen 5 years from now. He didn't say, no, I'm not going to give you disaster aid unless you give tax cuts to billionaires. Never said it.
No.
Never said it.
No.
And that's basically it. That's basically it. And then she says, third, we can work together without compromising our values. Congress is short on good ideas. If someone, no matter the side of the aisle, has a good idea, we should act on it. If Republicans are serious about effectively rooting out waste and fraud in places like our defense budget, let's do it. Finally, speak truth to power. It's the right thing to do when Trump, and that's...
Yeah, in places like our defense budget. Yeah. You know.
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't want to cut
where
anywhere
the liberals,
else.
That's where they want to cut.
But it's basically blah, 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 blah. But she gives no specifics of any policy direction for the Democrats.
No, what she's saying is, look, if Republicans want to keep rolling over and coming further left, then we're open to that.
Well, yeah, that one, yeah,
That's
exactly.
basically it.
Right. But anything else, I mean, the asking questions.
Yeah.
Well, what was the big policy there?
Right.
You know, the tests were going to end up being free no matter what. In the height of the COVID,
right?
There was no great victory there, and the back and forth with Ben Carson was like a second, because well, what about Rio real estate owned? You know, and he goes, what Oreo? You know, there's no Rio. And she goes, Rio. Oh, okay, fine. Let's discuss this. That was it. And then he actually made fun of it later. She views that as a great moment.
That was a victory for her.
That was a great moment for her.
Yeah.
They are completely bankrupt on ideas. They don't know where to go because the American public has rejected them on the issues. Every major issue, which is why Kamala Harris tried to co-opt Trump.
Yep.
Remember, her first ad that she ran... The first TV ad she ran was she was going to be tougher on the border than Trump. Yeah. That Trump has failed on the border, and she would succeed. She would truly close and secure the border. It backfired big time. Nobody believed it. They don't think about this. And that's where you and I had said Trump truly united the nation.
Yeah.
Because
Biden wore a Trump hat. He put a Trump hat on his head.
And once she was appointed by the Democrat Politburo as the candidate,
the Pentaveret
for the Pentaveret,
and the Colonel with his wee bitty eyes.
For the Democrats, she immediately tried to convince the American public she would be more Trump than Trump. So Trump united the nation, because if you can get the opposition to say, we agree with you, in fact, we do a much better job. Now, she lied, and, you know.
She had a wall in the background. In the ad,
there was a wall in the background,
right.
Yes. And so when you do that, Trump united the nation based on the issues. In fact, the issues that Trump stands for are still more popular than he is.
Right.
So people came together on those issues. But I just love it because Katie Porter here tries to lay out, you know, I've got it here. I've got the solution here, and there's no solution. It's all generic mumbo, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. There's nothing there.
Right.
She doesn't give any specifics.
No.
What's your plan? What's the outline? Where are you going to go?
Well, where is any of this leading? Where is any of this leading people? I mean, they really believe. Honestly, we talked about it. We mentioned it a minute ago. Who do they have? AOC, Chuck, Jeffries.
That's it.
That's it. Newsom's trying not to be in the spotlight right now.
Wow.
He's avoiding.
Boy, he's disappeared.
He's just disappeared.
Was it the inauguration, or is he just disappeared?
He's just, you know, and by the way, politically, it's a horrible move, but it's his best move. Lay low.
Oh, here it is.
Mm.
Newsom has 11-word response
Mm-hmm.
with a 4-letter word to Trump's climate news, but I can't get in it because it's a San Francisco Chronicle paywall that I'm hitting here.
Right.
I just got.
Yeah, this is where they are. This is where they are, not just as a party, but as a movement. You can't bring people together when you're lying time and time again. You know, she's got to lie. There has to be, the National Cathedral thing. All of these lies that they just tell over and over again, people can fact check. You are the media. You can find the answers yourself. You can find the truth yourself. And they still don't get that because they believe you're too stupid to find the truth. They believe that you're just, and some people are willing to go along. Some people are, in fact, as radical as they are. But more people are turning away from that kind of behavior. I hope that's not temporary. I hope as a nation, we're really actually, more and more people are waking up. I say we, I'm not part of it. But I hope people are waking up saying, we can't keep doing this.
Okay, Newsom, one-sentence statement Tuesday read, if you don't believe in science, believe your own damn eyes, followed by the images of wildfires that have ravaged much of Southern California this month.
Uh-huh.
So there you go.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't believe in science. He didn't wear the mask.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we talked about that. And he held the party.
Right.
At the restaurant.
Right.
He didn't believe in science.
Right. You're the party of science that says biology doesn't matter. That boy is a girl because he says so. I'm sorry. You want to talk science? Let's do it. We'll have a debate right now. Governor Newsom, you can call us on our toll-free number, and you can have the rest of the show. We'll have 3 hours, and you can have all day tomorrow and the following day, and I'll debate you full stop. Let's go.
Can I go home then?
Sure.
Okay. Just want you know.
Always looking to do the least you can do. It's the least you can do.
It's the least I could do.
It's the least you can do. I have to start with that line. That's what makes it funny. It's the least you can do.
It's the least I could do.
And you're always looking to do the least you can do. Yeah, old line. We'll debate you all day long on the science. You didn't follow the science because you didn't believe the science on COVID. Yucking it up with your friends at a dinner party, drinking wine, practically sitting on each other's laps while you're telling your own constituents, the people of your state, that they had to mask up and stay 12 feet apart, and that even twins couldn't play together. You want to go on the science? Let's do it.
And everybody was French kissing.
Exactly. Maybe.
Okay, maybe I've exaggerated that a little bit.
Could have been.
But with their masks on. No,
I don't know.
No, that was, he doesn't believe in the science.
Yeah. Right.
No. None of them do. Any of them that fly the private jets, they don't believe in the science.
Magic Johnson, the most famous person, one of the most famous people with AIDS, was at an event with him.
Remember the Super Bowl?
And
was it Super Bowl?
And he was standing right next to him without a mask.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a whole number, a list of layers of science you don't buy into.
Follow the science.
Follow the science. Something you should do. You throw it out the window. You don't buy the science. You don't believe it.
Do you get, as I do, that the public isn't paying attention to anything right now? That the public wants to see accomplishments and things being done. And, because did you see the ratings for the inauguration? They weren't that great.
Yeah, right.
But I think people are looking look, we put them in there to get the job done. I think people are more serious about, hopefully they're more serious about politics. As I said, to me, all the celebration, it's like, all right, I've had enough. Let's just get the job done.
Look,
I did approve of the desk, though, being there to sign the executive orders that I did approve of.
I thought it was a great day, but I'm a wonk. A lot of wonks thought it was a great day. Look, it was, this huge sigh of relief that Biden is no longer there. We've talked about it before, but the problem is that when you take on, such a big task, well, then you turn around and the next day the reality hits, or maybe in that same day, the reality hits that there's a huge job to do. And, that's it. I think most Americans are waiting. A lot of people are waiting and thinking things are going to happen, very quickly. I had someone close to me call me just yesterday saying, how soon do you think Trump can get the economy going again? I said, well, some things with regulation happen very quickly. And, there are ways that the economy can expand. Some ways are, if you think about the stock market and everything else, helping your 401k, that's great, but it can turn the other way very quickly.
Well, you mentioned the tariff thing the other day. You said about China, threatening China with tariffs gets us a better deal for TikTok.
Right.
And you were like, what is that about? I mean,
right.
TikTok,
well, because you're showing your hand to the opponent here. If you're saying that you're only going to put the tariffs in order to get a better deal
with TikTok, yeah,
then they're going to hold you.
But that's not why you'd use tariffs against China. TikTok's got nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
866-90 Red Eye.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. As always, coming up, Ben from Ben and Jerry's supporting Elon Musk.
When the tie-dye fades. A riveting expose by Red Eye Radio.
We'll get to that and more coming up.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. The president put out a tweet at 12:39 a.m. last night.
Yeah.
And I was reading the headline here because somebody posted it. It's like 12 a.m. mean tweets are back. The so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was very boring and uninspiring. She is not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. The only response I would have to Trump is what I started the show with earlier. You knew this.
Yeah.
When I saw yesterday that they were going to the National Cathedral, I went, it's not a good idea. They hate you. The story was the leadership back then. They, back in this first term, calling him a racist. Every name in the book they were calling him.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, why are they going? You don't need, nobody cares if you go to the National Cathedral.
Right.
Why are you going? Unless you wanted it to happen, you knew it was going to happen, and she was extremely well vetted.
Yeah.
People knew who she was. It's like, well, she's extremely far left. Why, and so that would be the question I have. Why did you go there? Did you not have an advance team? Is your advance team clueless as to the people that are your political enemies and will do anything to embarrass you. And the thing about an advance team is you want to make sure that when somebody can speak and you can't defend yourself, that you know where they stand. That's what I'd be looking at as an advance team.
Right.
But it seemed like, and nobody seemed to know it yesterday. It was like, and I was like, am I the only one that remembers this? At the National Cathedral, the leaders there, they hated him back in his first term. Hated him.
Well, and, so my question would be, were you looking for this to kind of come to a head?
Yeah.
Put on full display her behavior.
The argument out there, it just boggles my mind. The argument out there, and it's still being used by the Democrats. Well, per capita, there's less crime committed from illegal immigrants than there are citizens. Well, nobody gives a
Yeah.
If they're not here, none of those crimes happen.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's whether it is or not. It doesn't matter whether it is
Right.
or not. All that matters is if they weren't here, that crime would not have happened. They're here illegally.
Yeah.
God, it's just unbelievable. They're not going to win this.
No, I mean, the problem with the left is they really think that the reason they're not winning is because, again, people are stupid. That people don't see their point because they haven't said it often enough. That's why they don't change. If you believe everybody on the other side is stupid, you're not speaking the fancy NPR language. Carville was talking about that. We need to dumb it down. Well, when you think the entire other side is stupid and you think people that vote essentially for Trump, Obama went after black men days before the election. You're supposed to do what we believe on the left you're supposed to do. Well, wow. They over and over again don't see. They don't get it that they're wrong. And they never will.
Did you see he was on OAN, Representative Eli Crane from the Republican from Arizona, saying that once the mainstream media launches their massive propaganda campaign around deportation, soft members of Congress are going to fold like a folding chair on funding Trump's deportation agenda. Yeah, I mean that's and I don't know whether they will, but that's always the concern because what they're going to show.
Right. Yeah, right.
But as we've stated before, you don't need, number one, you're going after the criminals. Nobody is going to have any problem with that. The next group that you're going after are people that got their deportation orders. As we have said before, E-Verify mandated at every company and severe punishment for companies that hire people that are illegally in this country. That'll take care of it on itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's something we've talked about for years.
Yeah.
Because the enforcement should be there for that. And then when the incentive is gone, then things start to change drastically on the traffic. That's just the way it works. In fact, when those employers are incentivized not to hire, when they know that a serious punishment could be coming their way, that's what has to be done. Because otherwise you're going to play this game, this back and forth. I'm not against deportation. You should be doing deportation too. But a big part of the enforcement mechanism of the immigration law has to be going after the employers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can show that they're knowingly hiring people who are here illegally, then you throw the book at them. Full stop.
Well, and I think, you've had Holman and you've had Trump. I think they've actually done a pretty good job saying, look, and did you see, you go back to, I saw it yesterday, it was all over, it went viral, Obama talking about it, saying that if you want to, does anybody remember Obama's plan? Everybody goes back. You pay a fine, you pay taxes, but you go to the back of the line, and everybody that is legally trying to get into the country goes to the front of the line.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And that was Obama's plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, remember, all Democrats 10 years ago, the vast majority of Democrats, were behind what the Republicans are promoting right now.
Yeah.
Okay, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say probably
Maybe
closer
15.
to 15.
Okay,
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the late Harry Reid was talking barriers as late as, what was that audio cut that we played from him? I want to say it was 2015.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, that could have been, again, about Nevada. That could have been, something based on, remember, though, same Harry Reid, there are no illegals working. None. Zero.
Remember that?
In construction in the state of Nevada.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember the union leaders?
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell is he
Yeah,
talking about?
Are you kidding me? Right. Yeah.
You see some of the polling numbers, like 80% of Americans want, 80% want anybody who is, a criminal.
Right.
They want them deported.
Yep.
And deported now.
Yeah.
They didn't ask the question, though, if you've received your deportation orders. They just went, well, if you're in the country illegally, what should you do?
Right.
Or long term or whatever.
Right.
But before you even get there, you go after criminals, you go after employment, you go after those that have their deportation orders.
Yeah. Right.
And you can go after those with their deportation orders by, again, severe punishments for employers that hire illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
That's not hard to do.
Right.
So, and you close the border. Hey, has he talked about a wall?
I haven't seen
I just thought about that.
He didn't talk about a wall, but I mean, it is first of all, when you end the whole catch and release thing, that's going to be a big, that part right there is going to be a big effect, and you stop that, but I haven't seen anything on that. I know, Biden, last we heard on the wall thing, Biden was looking to sell it, the pieces of the wall that hadn't been used, sell it on auction for whatever it was.
What happened to that? I know. Remember, I know Texas wanted to put in a bid for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see any follow up on that at all.
Yeah.
But
that story went as fast as the drones. I did see Trump say, we're going to get to the bottom of the drones.
Right.
I'm going to tell you what the drones were.
Right.
Because that story was there, then gone.
Well, the thing is I expected Elon Musk to step up and say, well, Tesla will buy the pieces of the wall, but then you would have people accusing him of wanting to put up an electric fence, all electric fence. And that would be, you're not going to win that. That's one of those political things you don't win.
Run by solar panels.
Yeah. You don't want that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
What a zoo. Yeah, so Trump out there tweeting at 12:39 a.m. Eastern time this morning.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah, no shock. Right?
Yeah, but the church thing, like I said, that completely befuddled me yesterday, saying, why did you do that? Yeah. You knew. It's not like he didn't know. He knew. He knew from his first, unless they had gotten, assurances from the advance team that everything's going to be fine. Nobody's going to bring up politics. We're not going to do what we did before.
Or if he knew going in, this was the way she was going to behave,
and he wanted it,
and he's okay with her. Look, he can't control how she behaves, right? And he knows that the more you put on display the far left and the radicals, the more you're drawing the distinction. Because the difference is he's not campaigning anymore. He's the president.
Well, it's one or another. Either the advance team didn't do their job or they knew what they were walking into and thought they could use it for the advantage. It's one or the other.
Well, and you and I know enough about like advanced teams and how that works. And it would be really, especially with a president who, as a candidate, had 2 assassination attempts on him, that advanced team, I have to believe, is thorough. I can't. It would be hard. It would be hard to.
Well, an advanced team is different than the Secret Service.
I know that, but part of it is vetting everything in as the Secret Service comes in too. So they have to be thorough.
Knowing how it is, if you're going to get close to the president, because I've had to go through that before. The FBI check, the Treasury Department, FBI.
Well, as a candidate, remember the McDonald's thing. The left went, well, that was contrived. That was all set. It has to be that way.
Oh, yeah.
Do you not understand how it works? So, I don't know. Don't know for sure, but I'm thinking he's, look, if the left wants to act radical, he's going to do what he's going to do. Let them act radical. It hurts the left.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Listen to this. Politico, the political magazine website. Politico global editor-in-chief John Harris argued in a new piece that President Donald Trump's second victory proves that he has dominated American politics so thoroughly that he will likely be counted among the country's most consequential leaders.
Oh?
History will look at him in that.
Okay.
Well, we've said over the last few years, everything has happened without question. The history books are going to go nuts over this.
Oh, yeah.
Harris clarified he was not describing Trump as a righteous or evil character, nor was he saying that Trump has been a successful president, but he reiterated that his impact is monumental either way. He is a force of history. The editor-in-chief said Trump's second inauguration on Monday, put the president in an entirely new light. He is now holding power under circumstances in which reasonable people, cannot deny a basic fact. He is the greatest American figure of his era. Well, there goes Politico. They're done.
Well, yeah. You, sorry, you just handed it over. You just might as well turn the lights out.
But what is he missing there again? Because incredible, based on what? Where he stands on the issues. Everything is where Trump stands on the issues from the beginning.
Well, just like everybody on the left, they leave out. Yeah, they leave everything out on the issues. Because you can't venture into the issues and take them on. If you're on the left, you can't take on the right on the issues. It has to be about name calling. Hitler. That has to be. That is the tactic. And remember, we're old enough to remember when the left promised you things. Remember that? And there was this discussion. This is pre-COVID, but there was this discussion about, all right, the left promises, free this, free that, and this is really, I think it goes back to the Obama years. But all of these free things, or the implied free stuff, right? And that's what Hope and Change was about. You didn't know what it was. Nobody knew what it was. You just painted your own picture of it. Well, then back then the discussion was the GOP needs to talk about how it benefits you to have lower taxes, a smaller central government, and have an expanding economy, how the free markets can benefit you and do benefit you and expand your buying power and everything else. But, now the left doesn't talk that way anymore. What do they talk about? We're going to go after. 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 But Trump promised to put an end to lawfare and a number of things and root out that rot for a reason because of real things that were going on. This wasn't just political. This was something that was deeply embedded into the former administration, in fact, going years back on the left. But what did Trump also promise? What did he promise to you? For the American people, it was, we're going to bring the economy back. We're going to expand the economy. We're going to do these things to benefit you. And
which it is right now, by the way. That's still the dominating narrative is the economy, which was what Making America Great Again was back in 2015 into 2016. That's what we had always said. People live especially liberals live in the bubble. It means racist. No, that was the economy. It was always
exactly.
MAGA was always the economy in 2015, 2016.
And the left just keeps telling lies, making excuses, and saying saying promising to punish. We asked it years ago. If you're somebody who votes for the Democrats, what are they promising to do for you? They don't even promise the free stuff anymore. They don't. They just promise to punish.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose.
And thank you.
All right, so we look at where we are right now. Trump after a couple of days. Forget about the white noise.
I'm sorry, what?
The
what?
The white noise that the static and everything else that we see on social media.
See, the fact that you're talking white noise, AOC now is going to say Gary is Hitler. He's a white supremacist because he was talking about white noise.
All right, the irritating all-inclusive noise.
The non-specific noise.
Okay.
The static.
The rainbow noise.
Yeah. The static, the rainbow noise. Okay, I'm going to have to see if there's a band called Rainbow Noise.
But when that's good. It's really good. That's good,
right?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you see the first couple of days, because you're hearing the same thing I am. I hope Trump gets the economy going.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what the failure of the Democrats have been over the last couple of years. Number one, the public realizes that government can't save them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
When you think about it, inflation taught the American public, and the majority of the American public believes inflation came from government policy.
Mm-hmm.
I know Democrats tried to, get out there and say it's corporate greed. You notice that's gone now.
Right.
But when you see what's happening right now, with, the president yesterday with the huge investment, getting investors now to come aboard,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to have, trillions of dollars
Mm-hmm.
going into AI. We're going to lead in AI development in this country. Now, I don't know. Part of Trump's base probably was not pleased to hear, was it Larry Ellison, talk about the fact that this AI, would be able to create a cancer mRNA vaccine. And
Yeah.
I'm like, probably part of the Trump base doesn't want to hear that. That
Right.
was one of the highlights of it.
Right.
but talked about how we're going to, lead there. When you see that all of these liberal business, this is a thing that I think isn't being covered enough. You and I talked about, for example, Lindy Lee out there that we'll have a audio cut from in just a couple of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But the DNC mega donors themselves, with Lindy Lee helping them, raised $200 million for Trump's inaugural committee. These are all DNC mega donors that were just, they were with Harris. And not only are they looking at the Democratic Party now as just taking our money and wasting it.
Right.
I mean, you had no purpose. You just took the money and had fun with it. And so these mega donors are going, Trump's got a plan. And you think about it now, and I think this is maybe when we look in the future, it hasn't been, I won't say hyped up enough, but talked about enough. But it's not just when you see all those tech people there, tech, research, science, because Elon Musk just isn't tech. He's got his hands into a ton of different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And as he said, he doesn't want the government subsidies for the electric vehicles.
Mm.
So if you take him at his word there, and you take Zuckerberg at his word that what Trump believes in free speech is good for industry.
Yeah. Right.
And you see now him building a coalition of businesses. Because you and I talked about this we were in 2015, 2016, we were saying Trump's got to say, look, I've always been a builder. I'm going to get the business people together. We're going to make this country great again. I'm a builder. I build things. We don't destroy. We always thought he needed to say, he doesn't anymore because he's now in here, but I still think it would be great to say, I'm a builder. The Democrats destroy things.
Right.
Republicans are going to build.
Right.
We're going to, and it's not taxpayer investment. It's private sector money that we're doing this with.
We also said back then, Trump has the unique ability. He himself, as an individual, has the unique ability and opportunity and access to build this kind of coalition that he has now coming in 24.
Right. So you have, and this goes beyond political. It's the people that have called us, said, both sides, and all the different fringe issues out there sort of turn me off or whatever. I just don't want to get involved in it. And one of the fringe issues for a while was the radical transgender movement. Nobody wanted to touch it because I'm like, what's a fringe movement? It ended up not being a fringe movement if you see what happened. But a lot of people viewed it that way and said, I just want to stay away from both sides of that thing. It's just why even get involved in it?
Right.
But you see now where Trump's building this coalition of business people he promoted, business, the economy, business, the economy, business, the economy. And now you got a lot of people saying, the government can't save us. We thought they could with COVID, and then we got inflation. They didn't save us. But what they can do is get out of the way, because that's what Trump is actually doing. Mm-hmm. He's talking to these people, but these business people are coming up with these ideas. Hey, you cut out the regulation, we'll do massive investment here. You get, and I saw him say it the other day, it was almost exactly like we've said it, the cheapest fossil fuels, natural gas, oil, electricity that will, help, boom business here in the United States. And I'm like, yep, exactly. You and I have been talking about that for decades.
And now there's talk about, since the University of Nebraska did this study, there was more stories about it in recent days about this massive hydrogen field that they found here in the States.
Yep.
That could be a massive expansion of wealth.
Because you don't have to make the hydrogen.
It's there, and
which is the key.
With this field, they're saying the great benefit of it is it's shallow enough to access, but deep enough to store in place. Mm-hmm. Because storage has been the big conundrum with hydrogen. So
And so you're building, you think about this. Just think about 6 years ago. Every single tech company was working to do everything they possibly could
right,
to defeat Trump.
yeah,
And now they're all backing him. Well, not just backing Trump. They're backing Trump, but they're backing a movement of, look, we're the people. Not that we're the left is going to say we're billionaires. No, we're
innovators.
We're innovators. We're researchers. We're we're investors. We've got the capital. There's a ton of stuff that we can do. We want to do it in the United States. And if you're saying we can do it cheaper here, this is where we want to be. We don't want to go anywhere else.
Well, that's the thing, is that innovation is the key. The innovation is the other expansion of wealth. If you talk about like mining has been primarily, from the beginning, finding something that has no value in place, and then once it is brought above ground or whatever and processed, there's an instant demand for it. And with energy, you have that. But innovation is the other key. You talk about the efficiencies created with smartphones and technology, but also services. Bezos, who started in his garage selling books. And, if you thought about that and you think, yeah, I'm gonna be one of the richest people in the world. What are you doing? Right now, I'm selling books out of my garage. And but you look at the innovation. I've always called him, a concierge service. Amazon, what do you want? You need a widget? I'll get it there tomorrow morning. You want to watch a movie? I can get that for you, too. You need groceries? We'll get the groceries delivered. All of these things.
This afternoon.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, I'm running low on Tim Hortons coffee.
Yeah.
It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, boom.
So I ordered some.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up to come to work, walk out in the front porch. There it is.
There it is. Yep. Yep. Right.
Another 6 months of coffee.
When they started the 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. delivery, that was creepy because I didn't realize when I put the order in, it said tomorrow morning, and I guess I didn't see the window 4 to 8 a.m. I get home from the show, and it's just after 5. I'm like, somebody's been on my porch.
I know. I've come home from work,
yeah,
and they're delivering.
No,
walking down my driveway.
I was out front,
yeah,
and I don't know. I went out to adjust one of my garden lights or something, and when I just got home, all of a sudden, a car pulls up, and I'm like, "Oh man, we're going to get into it. This is going to be it. This is how it's going to happen." And then they come out and they've got their little safety vest. Amazon. It's like, oh, okay,
but the difference is, this isn't Trump like Biden would. We've got these people together, and we're going to invest in these. No. Cut out the regulations.
Mm-hmm.
Cut out the DEI.
Right. Yeah.
Cut out all the impediments the government puts in the way.
Mm-hmm.
But these people want to invest private sector money into the United States, and they want to do it at huge amounts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is happening in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
Whereas Biden would be, and so we're going to invest into these solar and wind things that nobody can make a profit on,
Nope.
and the government's going to lose its posterior on. I almost said the word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if we did a podcast, I could curse up a storm.
Yeah,
and that would make
we
me
could smoke cigars. I don't even smoke.
Would we stop there? Yeah, no smoking cigars.
I get the bubble gum cigars.
No, yeah, but the bubble gum, and I'll smoke candy cigarettes.
Yeah,
but
are you smoking pink bubble gum? Maybe.
But when you think about it, that's the direction of Trump taking into these as Bernie Sanders would say, oligarchs. You know why Bernie Sanders is furious right now? He was out there talking the oligarchs and the tech industrial complex yesterday,
right,
which we debunked. You were gone Friday. I went through point by point of why it's not an oligarchy and why it's not a tech industrial complex instead of a military industrial complex.
Right.
But he's livid because this is the opposite. What Trump's doing is the opposite of socialism.
Oh, this is the expansion of. Well, this is. You think we have too many deodorant choices now, Bernie? You just wait until AI gets hold of it.
But then you think of, for example, Soros.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of these heads, these CEOs, these investors, these venture capitalists, they're looking at what Soros did and said, that's the last thing we need to be involved in. We don't need to be supporting politicians that are pro-crime.
Right.
Think about it. That message is out there.
Right.
Even Democrats know Soros is pro-crime.
Right.
He was funding people. Think about how many Soros DAs have been kicked out.
Yep.
Because they made their communities a living hell.
Right.
They gave deference to the criminals.
Right.
And so you've got, and this coming up on the top of the hour, we'll play it, Lindy Lee talking about, she's done with the Democratic Party. They all are too. And she's even said, this really isn't about politics. It's about moving the country forward, which is about politics, by the way, because there's a particular political party. But I understand what she means. There's people out there going, no, we just want to make the country go and good and have...
Make America great again.
And make America great again, yeah. But, and have free speech that the status quo of the Constitution and free speech and freedom of religion and free markets and all of, well, we hope the Republican Party will move much more in the direction of free markets.
Well, no, I mean...
There may be a couple of humps to go over before we get there.
But this is where the left is. Years ago, it's a make America great again. It's blah, 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 blah. No, that's racism. And then you fast forward to 2024, and they're all screaming, you know what we need to do? We need to make America great again. They're coming. It's like they're thinking, well, we need to go back to, you mean make America great again? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Something, that again, if you look at, this is why when they got involved in all the name calling and everything else, you tolerate that and you get nowhere. If you talk about the ideas and the issues, what is it that we do as a country? We expand the wealth, which expands the buying power of every family. Full stop. That has to be done. And we protect our borders. We're a sovereign nation.
And that's why Bernie Sanders is going. He went crazy yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
He's going crazy.
Yeah, he's losing.
I realized, he sees the country
moving away from it.
More capitalistic instead of
exactly
socialistic.
Yep.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up on the top of the hour, we'll hear from the former DNC mega donor who is now raising money for Republicans and Trump.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. But that's what you're getting when you get these people, the mega donors, and they're in business. And they look at a Democratic Party. What do they stand for?
Right. Exactly.
What are
What are they
they
promoting?
What are they promoting?
What are they doing to help you? What is it if you're supporting them? What are they doing to help you?
And that's one of the narratives out there. If the Democrats can't raise money, if the mega donors are going towards Republicans, what's going to happen?
What's their future, right?
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I just saw this on X. Taylor Swift with the Nazi salute.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift with her hand up in the air like that.
Uh-huh.
And the headline is, "My God, not her too."
Well, Libs of TikTok did I think it was 4 different pictures. I think it was Kamala Harris, Obama, Biden,
I saw,
and
Hillary.
Elizabeth Warren. Or, no, it was Hillary and Elizabeth Warren. I don't think Biden was in that one. Yeah. It's, but this is the insanity of the left. It's, everything is a Hitler salute. Or it
So
could be
that-
just somebody waving.
So that means all Swifties now, because you don't question it.
No. It has
You
to
know-
be absolute.
Forget about Me Too. This is Hitler too.
Yes. Hashtag her too. Hashtag Taylor too. Yeah.
Hitler too. If you just, I love the one. Goes, there's the evidence, and it shows Elon Musk drinking a glass of water and Hitler drinking a glass of water.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, Trump just signed another executive order to rename the United States the American United States of America. So that's a new one, but it's going to have to change on some bills.
Hey, I see they're getting hit there down there near the Gulf of Texas.
Yeah, Gulf of America, Gulf of Buckies.
What? So this means all Swifties now, because you can't question it. This is like Me Too. You cannot
it's
question
absolute.
it.
It's absolute.
It's absolute. If
right.
you get
if they
caught,
raise their hand,
right?
yeah.
And it
Heaven help you if you have to go to the bathroom.
and you class, raise your hand if you have the answer.
Right.
Hey, you're Hitler.
Yes. They're indoctrinating kids to be Hitler-like. Hitler-like.
All Swifties now are Hitler adjacent
Yes.
because of that photo that you cannot question.
Yeah. And
You
you know,
cannot question the context.
the Bills are playing Kansas City. That's going to be awkward. Right? So, is she going to be at the game?
Oh, I didn't know. I forgot about her. Yeah. I forgot about her in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
It's in Buffalo. Is it in Buffalo, the game?
No, it's in Kansas City.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if all the Kansas City fans, if they score a touchdown and the referee raises his hands, is that a double Hitler salute for a touchdown or a field goal?
Yep.
In the game coming up?
Yep. Yep. It'll be everywhere now. You won't be able to unsee it. Anybody who raises their hand. You know? Yeah. Sorry. Just the way it is. You know, you go by a class, the aerobics center, and they're all, doing their stretches, and like, oh, wow. That's not good.
I just realized John Travolta in Saturday Night Live when he goes,
Yeah, Saturday Night Fever, yeah.
What'd I say?
Saturday Night Live.
Oh.
Yeah, he may have done it on Saturday Night Live. Yeah.
Same difference.
Yeah.
When he goes like that and raises the hand.
Yeah.
We didn't know that was all about Hitler.
That may be where it began as a whole new movement.
So if you listen to the Bee Gees, you love Hitler.
Yeah, right. Staying alive, what does that mean? I'm just throwing it out there. More than a woman, what does that mean?
I don't even know.
I don't even, just throw them, huh? What does that mean? Well, I don't know. What does it mean? I don't know. Let's get back to Jesse Ventura. I don't know. Why don't you tell me what it means?
Well, you got to be able to define.
You make the accusation.
You got to be able to define a woman if you're going to sing a song more than a woman.
Right. Is that a female woman or a male woman? These are real things from the news in real places from legitimate sources. You may think, well, Eric and Gary sound like they're drinking. Yes, we do, but we're talking real things. And we haven't been drinking.
Well, no, I have a strawberry Atkins shake if that's drinking.
Well, my doctor's taken all the fun out of my life, so I don't drink coffee anymore. I'm drinking green tea.
No way.
No joke. Yeah, green tea. I have been for a couple of weeks now. Yeah. No coffee. Yeah, I know. Yeesh.
No coffee?
No coffee. No.
None?
No, I'm prone to migraines, and they say that, we're going to eliminate some things and then maybe reintroduce it. I can't wait until, if they tell me you can drink coffee again, that first coffee buzz after you quit drinking coffee? I'm going to have to save that for a real moment, like a concert or something.
Let me check here.
If I'm allowed to. Yeah.
Did Hitler, I'm putting this in Google, did Hitler drink tea?
Well, you had a Hitler teapot. I talked about that earlier, true. Right? The Google Hitler teapot. I'm not lying about it. It was a thing.
Yes.
Yeah. course he did.
And I know this is the truth because it came from AI.
Yeah, of course.
Google AI overview. Yes. Adolf Hitler drank tea, often with milk.
Yeah. I'm not putting milk in it. I'm not a Nazi. That's not going to happen.
Hitler would walk to the tea house. Well, you walk from the studio to get tea.
The company,
Hitler!
the company tea house.
The company's providing you it?
Yeah.
Is that company provided tea?
It
Hitler!
is. Government tea. By the way, this green tea that I'm drinking is likely 10 years old.
Oh.
I don't think anybody's ever touched the green tea in our supply in our break room.
Hitler would sometimes fall asleep after drinking tea. And after you drink tea, the audience falls asleep.
Yeah.
You're Hitler.
They fall asleep around 12:08. Oh, okay. So, to be intellectually honest.
Oh, wait a minute. Wow. I didn't know that the Hitler assassination. Hitler, according to a reliable information, is a tea addict. He always drinks it with milk. Since the milk is poured into the cup first, it's unlikely that it would be noticed as it came from a teapot. I'm trying to see here. Okay, he also drank coffee, too, so that blows the whole thing.
In fact, they're saying he drank copious amounts of coffee.
Yes. So he drank tea, but copious amounts of coffee.
Yeah.
So then I'm Hitler, too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They were in the assassination plot. They were trying to think of his drinking habits.
Oh, okay.
What would be the best way to poison him?
Right.
So they're thinking of poisoning his tea or his coffee, which would be the easiest way to get him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, this conversation we have just had over the last, the last 6-7 minutes. If people didn't know the context, they'd say these guys are nuts.
Yeah. No, I mean,
but the context,
Eric and Gary have been drinking. That's
right.
what you would think.
Yeah. But the context is all based
on real things.
On real things.
These are all real things
that the left is talking about.
Yeah, this is how insane it has become. You know, here's a picture at Newsmax of President Trump waving. Whoa, don't wave. Put the hand down. Put the hand down. Yeah, can't put your hand in the air.
I guess we're just going to have to say, we all are the media. We all are Hitler.
Well, again, you're not going to be able to unsee it now. And the left this is because that's the problem with the left is they're trying to put it everywhere. Of course, libs of TikTok put the appropriate answer to that. Kamala, Obama, Hillary. All with the Hitler salute.
I would just say here, since we're going to have a moment of sanity, why not, that if everybody is Hitler, we have diluted the evil of Hitler.
Well, that's what we talked about in the danger of creating that entire narrative on Trump. Because the idea would be what? You need to make people believe. We played the audio from the National Cathedral, and she wants people to believe that there are people living in fear for their lives because Trump is president. If that were to ever happen, it's because the left made it happen, not because Trump made that happen. It's what they have done, the danger of it, including Bill Maher, who I've never heard reverse what he said about Trump years ago, that, well, we called Bush and Romney and those other guys, we called them Hitler, but this guy really is Hitler, which is to imply what? That means he would be capable of killing millions of people.
Right.
And Trump is a non-war president.
That's the
insanity.
Thing. When you actually put some critical thinking to it, which everybody is, it makes no sense at all. And we had said this a long time ago. We said when Bush was being called Hitler or whatever, we said, well, Hitler is not even about the fact of going to war.
Right.
Hitler is about the definition that people would put in their heads is that you are capable of murdering.
Right.
Not in war, not in battle.
Exactly.
But you are capable of murdering millions of people.
Well, and that's where I got to the non-war president, because it was like, how could you even get there? Well, he wants to send people to war, which is going to kill millions. You can't get there. There's no way to get there with Trump. Out of all of the GOP presidents, if you think about, or those who have run for president, except for maybe Rand Paul, Trump in practice as a president has been the most libertarian on that issue. If you talk about not going to foreign wars, not going to war, even though, you talk about Soleimani and things on national defense that have been more measured responses. He's not a wartime president. He's not a war president at all, which goes back decades.
Well, peace through strength does not mean you're a non-war president. It means
but what I mean by that is that you don't see jumping into war as your first option or solution to that. You build your national defense system, and the world knows exactly where you stand.
I guess it would be like fighting fires.
Mm-hmm.
My first choice is not to fight a huge fire at the edge of the suburbs or in the suburbs.
Right.
My goal would be to ensure that we are prepared, that the fire never gets close to us.
Yep. Yeah. So.
Wow. Smooth, Gary.
Yeah. Way to go. That was nice.
You're welcome.
But no, that's, but this is what they want you to believe. They want people to believe. So if there are any people living in fear, it's because of the left.
Oh, yeah, it's the brainwashing.
If there are people that...
Or if it's not brainwashing, I do call it, the victimization or virtue, combination of that, virtue signaling, victim-oppressor relationship, all these things.
Victim virtue signaling, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the... Look, I'm afraid of my... Remember when he won in 2016, the day after the election, how many liberals said, I just stayed at home for days and cried. But what has changed since then? Was it Frank Luntz who had the woman that was on the panel and said, look, I cried after he won in 2016. I'm voting for him in 24.
Oh, yeah.
This is what the left doesn't see. This entire charade on everything, on every level, this charade. Oh, the open border will be fine. Inflation is transitory. We mean it's good. We're not going to talk about it. And everything they've been delusional on. You can't get away with that forever. You cannot create a delusional state and have people live in it, especially when reality is hitting harder. Because when they're not listening to you spout your lies, they're dealing with the inflation that hits hard. They're dealing with higher crime in their neighborhoods. They're dealing with the fact that their city is now a border town. They're dealing with the leftist agenda coming after your kids on the whole transgender thing and wanting to push your daughters aside to give somebody else, a man, a place on the team. All of these things the left doesn't see. They don't get it, the lives people are living still today, because it's going to take a while to fix all of this and turn this around. But November was the start to say, yeah, we're done.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on roadside inspections. Drivers must always be prepared for a roadside inspection. This means drivers should always have their personal, vehicle, and company credentials organized and ready, and having any shipment paperwork such as bills of lading or hazardous materials shipment emergency response information organized and ready for the inspection official. Just an FYI, The top 2 violations written against drivers every year, as well as during Operation Road Check, are log general form and manner and log not current. Both are completely avoidable if the driver keeps the log accurate, compliant, and current at all times. Having the vehicle ready for inspection involves the driver conducting daily inspections and making sure any problems that are discovered are immediately corrected. Vehicle readiness also requires the company to make sure that the vehicle is current on all scheduled maintenance and that the maintenance schedule is adequate. This will make sure the driver is being given a sound vehicle to start with. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. I can't believe that the Democrats are still pounding on Hitler. You had and Never Trumpers also.
Yeah.
Bill Kristol doing it yesterday, where Britt Hume just went after him, going,
Yeah.
"Just stop it,
Just,
God.
give it up.
Just stop it." And then
Right.
you had Senator Chris Murphy going after Stefanik, UN ambassador, on it, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
And they just, and then AOC, and then Elizabeth Warren, and it's just like, wow. They just won't let it go. And it didn't work for them. In fact, one of the reasons that people voted for Trump was because they kept calling him Hitler, and they said, well, we know who Hitler is. We know the exaggeration. We knew that was desperation, and they just keep doing it.
Well, it's, look, I don't expect AOC to vote with the GOP on anything, but I'm hoping and praying there's just one thing, so that way that everybody can point to her and go, oh, so you voted with Hitler, huh? I mean, this is what the left got, what the Democrats got. You guys called him Hitler, and then, Biden's sitting there saying, welcome back. And then the other day, on Inauguration Day, welcome home. Like, it's the place where you belong. Wow.
Sorry, I've been renting the place for 4 years.
Exactly.
You're
I'll
back
get out
home.
of your way now.
We know you own. I was renting. We know you own it, Trump.
Right. Exactly. Sorry about all the drool on the pillows. We'll get those replaced. But it's, it is that's the problem that they have. They keep doing this over and over again, and it goes nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere. It becomes their own, much smaller now, echo chamber. And they still don't get it. They think they're winning. Well, you're not.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. Okay, off the Hitler stuff for a couple of moments. Don't worry, Hitler will be back any moment now.
Yeah.
Because Hitler always returns when we talk politics here in the States.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But we're talking about a number of times here, just in really today's show, because it really came to the forefront yesterday with Trump talking about the massive investment. By the way, the anti-vaxxers that are Trump supporters, furious. Go on social media, start checking it out now, because part of what the AI, which they want to do, and I mentioned it earlier when Larry Ellison came out and said, we believe we can get a cancer vaccine where AI can do an mRNA vaccine and individually figure out what is, the cancer that you have and destroy it. And they're not. They're going crazy.
Right.
This is the last thing we wanted from Trump after 2 days. We can't believe Trump's doing vaccines after 2 days. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's and interesting. I was like, okay, where's Robert Kennedy? Is Jr.? Is he not part of this conversation here at the moment?
Right. Exactly.
They're going crazy. But that's for another time. I'm sure we'll talk about that in the future. But you and I were talking about how you see all these business people, all the tech people, Silicon Valley that all hated Trump, hated him, and now they're all on board. Mm-hmm. And you see more and more CEOs coming on board. And one of the concerns that has been talked about here, especially over the last couple of weeks, is donors for the Democrats. Like, what are the Democrats about now? After Harris and Biden, nobody knows what they're about.
Yeah, right.
And you see that you have CEOs and investors moving towards Trump and donors moving towards Trump. I want to play this here. This is Lindy Lee. She was on, I think it's News Nation.
Okay.
And she's talking about the DNC mega donors who were upset about Kamala Harris's campaign. Because basically these mega donors are like, we gave you billions of dollars and you just blew it.
Right. Yeah.
And then when it came out what she blew it on, they're like, what in the hell? And now they're realizing Democrats don't stand for anything. So they're moving to Trump.
Yeah.
And this is part of the conversation of Lindy Lee, who was the DNC mega donor who quit the Democratic Party and now is raising money for Trump's inaugural committee.
Uh-huh.
That in itself is mind-blowing. But here it is.
I focused specifically on the Starlight Ball, which was the one with most of his major donors, and we raised upwards of $200 million. And just for perspective, Biden only raised about $62 million. We had so many donors that we had to turn them away due to the fire code. It was just amazing. I've never seen anything like that. I had donors doubling offers, and they still weren't able to get off of the wait list due to the demand and given the overwhelming enthusiasm in the room.
So where are these donors coming from? I mean, are these always Trump supporters? Are these new supporters? And it sounds like they've got some deep pockets.
Absolutely not. They're not all Republicans. They're certainly not really. I think a lot of them just want a stable and prosperous country. And that's what Trump is offering. People are jumping on the bandwagon because they realize that he's going to catalyze the economy. And he's appealing to tech bro billionaires because he's out there saying that he wants, for instance, the United States to be the AI capital of the world or the crypto capital of the world. So he's really galvanizing a segment of the community that's pretty much been on the sidelines. And a lot of these members of the community, the business community, they don't really care about left or right. They just want America to win. They just want America to prosper and not to be strangled by too much regulation.
You had worked previously with a lot of big Democratic donors. Have they now been contributing to Trump's first or second term?
Absolutely. And I've been working with incoming RNC chair, Casey Crosby. She's absolutely amazing. And I've been able to introduce her to a number of huge mega DNC mega donors who are very upset about the way that the DNC has handled their money through the Kamala Harris campaign. And I've already recruited them. They've agreed to help the RNC. So it wasn't really even a hard sell. People are just extremely upset by the fact that the money was mishandled so poorly. And number two, no one ever addressed what happened. We never got any answers at all. So some of these donors are disaffected Democrats. And I wonder how the DNC is ever going to rebuild their image in the next 4 years, given that no action has been taken to remedy what happened in 2024. No answers have been given. So, I mean, good luck to them. I don't see any sense of remedial action.
I think that story has been underreported, actually. The impact that could have. I know we've talked about it.
Yeah.
But you really haven't seen it. It's out there, but it isn't the big story that it should be. The major story that I think it should be. What are the Democrats going to do when it comes to fundraising? That's been underplayed about how angry think about it.
Yeah.
You were just a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Giving to Democrats. I'm a Democrat. I'm giving to Democrats. Now you're giving to Trump.
Yeah,
Sorry I had to yell that, but I mean,
we played some audio from Lindy Lee in recent months. It's like, Why are you helping? Why would you even stay over there? What are you doing over there? Come on over. The water's fine. And she did. But when you look at that, and putting all this together, it's something we've talked about during campaign seasons. You have to look at where the donors are and where their confidence is. I don't know what happened with this overconfidence on Kamala. There was clearly a lot of overconfidence. What I think it was a rebound move. When Biden stepped down, I think there was a rebound, a natural rebound to go, yay, somebody younger. And then boom, and they thought it was going to, but you're basically throwing that money into the void because you have no idea. And there was nothing that actually told you that campaign was going to be viable, the Kamala Harris campaign. So when you look at, because in fact, there's something to tell you quite the opposite, and that's her first campaign where she stopped, in fact, had to end that campaign December 3rd, 2019, never made it to the actual primary season of 2020, the year 2020. So all of that we've talked about in Follow the Donors. Where are the donors? Now, it doesn't always apply, if you're following day by day and measuring, well, this person raised this much and this person raised, you can get, there can be some misleading things because Trump has done very well with having fewer dollars in his coffer. That was the case in 2016 against Hillary. She had a lot more and spent a lot more money. So where is it that you actually bring it together? When the confidence comes together, you can definitely see it. I think, again, the Kamala Harris thing I think it was a fluke. I think it was a rebound after Joe Biden stepped down. People just blindly being relieved that the Democrats were no longer going to have him as their nominee, but thinking that she was going to be much better, assuming just by comparison because she's younger. Well, now Trump you're seeing this coalition. I said this the other day. When you saw big tech on stage with him on Inauguration Day, that was a coalition. Those are corporations, major corporations. That's part of the innovation, in fact, that drives the wealth in America, that helps everybody. It helps build a thriving economy. That's why they're all there. Tim Cook probably didn't vote for Trump, but Tim Cook of Apple standing up there. This is something that they have talked about. Remember when Tim Cook was talking about repatriating the dollars from Apple, bringing them back so they can invest them here, and the left was against that. That's something that Trump has talked about in the past. Something Steve Jobs was trying to talk to Obama about, and Obama wouldn't listen years ago. But that innovation is key to the expansion of wealth. And that's why you're seeing corporations dump DEI, dump the madness, dump the things that are eroding your ability to create more profits and expand wealth and move toward a more profitable plan.
Well, any business person looks for opportunity, and the Wall Street Journal, the end of the global tax affair. We warn the Europeans. 2 of President Trump's day one executive orders threatens dire consequences for any government that tries to raise taxes on American companies outside of America. And so you look at what's going on, and Lindy Lee said it. Look, they're business people. They want to do business, and if someone's promising them a better path, a better field to grow their business, that's where they're going to go. And I just wondered, though, if Trump has broken through that wall that you had the CEOs and these major investors, a lot of times they would donate to both parties. And then there was the thought that the Democrats were going to lead for the longest time. And so any company out there, knowing that, the Green New Deal, regulations, everything else, they're trying to do whatever they can and give their money to the Democrats just to be able to survive the oppressive business environment that they believe was going to come down under Democrats. And so, that's what they did. But over the last few years, they've realized that's not, look, they don't live in a vacuum. They saw what they know what government spending has done.
Yeah.
Government spending, you go into debt like that, it hurts an economy, it hurts business. And they look at Trump and go, all right, this guy wants to make it where we grow the economy here in the United States, and that's where we want to go. And the Democrats have no direction at all. What is the direction of the Democrats right now? And we say that, look, as I said, they don't operate in a vacuum. They saw that as soon as Biden was done and Kamala was installed, that she co-opted everything that Trump believed in.
Yeah.
And at that point, a lot of these CEOs had to say, and these, venture capitalists, investors, tech CEOs looked at this and said, what does the Democrats stand for? What do they stand for except everything that Hitler believed, yet the other side is Hitler? Exactly. And I say that because of their anti-Semitism.
Right.
And their promotion of Hamas.
Yep.
Indirectly, maybe, not all of them are vocal, but many of them indirect with what they wish for policy for Israel, which is pro-Hamas.
Right.
But what do they stand for? And if you're one of these people, you're looking going, whoa. And maybe you had Zuckerberg. Maybe Zuckerberg had to be dragged in. Maybe Zuckerberg, when he finally got into his late 20s.
Yeah. Right.
Early on, he was a liberal and then realized, probably censoring is not the way to go in the business that I'm in.
Right.
And I don't care how they get there as long as they get there. And so you look at it, and it's really incredible. This change in just, the last couple of days, and then the tech CEOs.
DEI going away. Because that's the thing, is that when you look at it, it's more than just profits. Because what you look at in a situation like this is, if you're part of this massive thriving economy, right? You're helping to drive an economy. It is the fundamental, it is the basis, the foundation of any business that wants to be around for decades. But you want to be a part of that thriving economy and that massive expansion. When everybody realizes that and says, you know what, we've been playing the wrong game. We've been trying to appease. We've been thinking that if we just look cool and hip and trendy, jumping on these things, that will bring business. And we found out it makes it impossible to do business. And what we need is less regulation. We need our hands untied so we can go out and help to expand the economy, which benefits every single family.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here. Download our Red Eye Radio app today. Our podcast starts right after our show ends after 5 a.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, or 6 a.m., not 6 p.m., 6 a.m. Eastern Time.
That would be a long day.
Yeah. So you can listen to our podcast after the show is over. And if for some reason you can't get one of our favorite radio stations, one of your favorite radio stations that carries us overnight, you can listen to all 5 hours.
Yeah.
Right on our app, our Red Eye Radio app.
Live every morning.
Yep. Coming up following the top of the hour, you're not going to want to miss this. Another billionaire, tech billionaire, who actually campaigned for Kamala Harris in 2016, supported Biden in 2020, and now is a Trump supporter. Why? We'll have that for you. Fascinating. And you know what it is? I decided not to pay attention to anybody else and actually do the research myself and find out if Trump said those things, and found out Trump didn't say those things.
Well, there you go.
That I was being lied to.
Yep.
This is Red Eye Radio. on Westwood One.